There's more going on in the Cardano ecosystem now than there has ever been before. I'm going to focus on the 4 main updates in this video that are going to shape the narrative over the next few months and the price possibly as well. So definitely important to understand these 4 updates. Obviously, everyone right now is looking at TVL for Cardano and, LARPing around saying that, Cardano is kind of adding TVL, and they are. I don't think it's as important as a lot of people are making out. Obviously, this is important to see that money and assets are flowing into applications on Cardano, kind of putting to bed the ghost chain narrative. It's just absolutely not true. Applications are launching and they're becoming useful. So we can see about 300 million here. If you count staking, it goes up to 435. I don't count staking. I don't think that's TVL, to be honest. So 323 million, actually, when you really look at it, it's not that much. And that's because Cardano is very different to other chains. Just to kind of go through this and give you a comparison, we have a star, which is a Polkadot parachain. And they have, since February, gone from very, very low all the way up to almost $1 billion in TVL now. Now, they've just got more TVL than Cardano, but a star is down at number 200 or something, and Cardano's in the top 10. Why is that? Well, it's to do, I believe, with the monetary base. And I'm going to get to that later on in the video, why Cardano has monetary premium where some other coins don't. Before we get on to that, I just want to talk about Minswap and what has happened. Minswap is the largest app on Cardano by TVL, so that's great. But obviously there was a vulnerability found in one of the smart contracts, or I should say all of these smart contracts on its system. So this is actually a pretty big deal. So this is not something you should kind of gloss over and say, well, there was some issue and now they fixed it, and they have fixed it now. Just to be really clear about that, Minswap have fixed the issue. But essentially, they had an error in the smart contracts on their system that a hacker could have exploited. And that exploit would have enabled the hacker to drain all of the ADA from those smart contracts. All of the TVL on the system, if we go back to Cardano, you can see Minswap down here, number 1 by TVL, $200 million worth of TVL in ADA and other tokens. That could have been drained, or the ADA could have been drained by a hacker. So a very, very big issue. Now, this wasn't found when they went through a security audit for some reason. So kind of strange, but you can see that they have patched this vulnerability. So that is now not an issue. They're past this now, but obviously a big deal in terms of applications on Cardano. The fault was actually found by another DEX building on Cardano. Kind of a rival, if you want to call it that, but instead of exploiting the vulnerability or doing anything like that, they actually, basically worked with Minswap and alerted them of the issue before anything else. And luckily, nothing got drained. So Wing Riders, obviously, like, a big thank you to them, because they basically saved potentially $100 million of ADA being drained by a hacker. So obviously that's an issue. And I just want to say, kind of in a general sense, applications on Cardano are not Cardano. Cardano is the blockchain, and applications are completely separate from Cardano and the blockchain and IOHK who develop it. Applications are built by separate developers. They can have issues. They will have issues. There will be hacks on these applications in the future. Issues and problems, mean potential money lost. So just be careful that maybe, wait a few weeks or a month or so before or after the launch before you start putting, tons of money into these smart contracts on these systems, because, these problems are going to arise. On to some good news though. We have another Cardano ecosystem project launching like right now as of making this video. Milkomeda are trying to bring EVM, so that's Ethereum virtual machine, to non-EVM chains, and obviously the first one is Cardano. So you can see what they're doing here. Milkomeda is developing a layer 2 rollup on Ethereum, so that's low fees on Ethereum, but it's interoperable or becoming interoperable with other chains. The first is Cardano, you can see right here, Solana and Algorand. So Milkomeda are a completely different project. They're not kind of directly Cardano building anything. So yeah, it's interesting to see what they're doing right now. Now, this is how Milkomeda works, right? Which is obviously incredibly complex. So essentially what they're trying to do is to let users on Cardano actually take their ADA, send it to a Cardano wallet, and then swap it into an asset that you can then use on the Ethereum rollup, which they call Milkomeda, which is an EVM chain on Ethereum. So potentially what that chain can do is basically launch lots of the A1 applications in the ecosystem, right? Obviously, if they get those apps to link up with them. So, what it's trying to do is kind of, make users, give users the ability to bridge value from Cardano into Ethereum, and you have all of those apps potentially. So I'm going to go through some of the kind of pros and cons, or where I see this working. So what you can see here is Milkomeda teamed up with a project called Nomad. Nomad is letting Milkomeda essentially bridge tokens from Ethereum over to their layer 2 Ethereum. And it gets really complex, I know, but layer 2 Ethereum is obviously, lower fees and is the way that things are going. ZK rollups with layer 2. Nomad lets a lot of ERC20 tokens be bridged over to that layer 2, which is obviously important, right? So, wrapped ETH, USDC, USDT, like that, getting that onto the Milkomeda layer 2 on Ethereum. Obviously, that means that if you've got ADA on Cardano, you can potentially get value across and start trading those assets as well. So I'll show you kind of how this works. This is Milkomeda's site. You can see here, experience interoperability. Now, let me show you how this works. I've done another 5-year-old drawings. I think you guys love this, but it is really complex. And for the end user, I'm not sure if I see too many advantages, but I think this is more for developers that can potentially make things a lot easier and keep things decentralized. So this is from what I've read, kind of how it works, right? So let's say you've got ADA on the left-hand side here, and you are an ADA holder and you have ADA in your wallet. Okay, so it's all decentralized and you have it in a Yoroi wallet or something like that. What you're going to have to do is first send your ADA to Flint Wallet. Flint Wallet is a wallet developed by DC Spark. So Flint Wallet is a Cardano wallet, all right? So you have to take ADA from your Yoroi or somewhere else, put it over to your Flint Wallet. From Flint Wallet, what you can do directly in the app is actually bridge the value of that ADA over to a MetaMask account, right? So MetaMask, as you can see right here, MetaMask is obviously the Ethereum EVM wallet that everyone has. So what you can do right here is take your ADA and move it into MetaMask, and it becomes, you can see this right here, it becomes Milk ADA. It's a weird name, I know, but Milk ADA is the base asset on Milkomeda. Now that's a 1-for-1 with ADA. So what you've just done there essentially is taken ADA from the Cardano blockchain, the value of it, and swapped it into a 1-for-1 Milk ADA on Milkomeda on Ethereum. So that's obviously huge for a lot of people. And obviously you can do it vice versa as well, right? The other way around. A little bit complex. So you need a Flint wallet and a MetaMask wallet. You also have this wrapped ADA right here, as you can see, which is similar to wrapped ETH, which obviously can be used with smart contracts. And it's an ERC20 token, this wrapped ADA, because Milkomeda is an Ethereum, EVM layer 2 solution, ZK rollup. So, really interesting right here to have that link up between ADA and Milkomeda. So I want to go through this very quickly. A big problem I see here is that that's great, but what a lot of people actually do is basically just use Binance, right? Centralized. A lot of people will do this. They'll just send their tokens into Binance, swap it into Matic or AVAX, and then use those side chains. Polygon still has a side chain. AVAX has, basically a side chain. And then Milkomeda is basically competing with Polygon and AVAX. So for an end user, for most end users, like 90%, most people are just going to very happily send it into Binance. It's a centralized exchange, but if you're not doing anything weird, then that's kind of fine for most people. And then maybe using one of the other chains like Polygon, which is already much more integrated into the Ethereum system. It's on OpenSea, it's on Uniswap, SushiSwap, Aave, right? Where Milkomeda isn't. So for right now, I think very early stage, Milkomeda is a completely different investment, but eventually you can see the links here, right? Is trying to take the centralized portion out of it and being able to kind of bridge assets over to an Ethereum rollup. So definitely some use in the future for some applications, but for now there are other ways around it. But an interesting project that's going to bring some utility to, value going from ADA to Ethereum and then ETH back to ADA. Now I want to get into some updates that are coming to the Cardano blockchain that will enable way more TVLs to actually come onto Cardano and more applications to launch. So this is going to be happening in June. We had a quick AMA from Charles, who basically outlined what is happening at the June event. So there's a big upgrade and a fork coming that is going to allow many more types of applications to launch on the chain. And there's going to be increasing the amount of throughput here as well. So I'm just going to quickly go through them here. He mentioned that there are about 500 or more dApps in development on the Cardano blockchain itself right now. So a massive unique ecosystem here. So not just a side chain that is basically copy pasting Uniswap and Aave and then drawing some TVL out because it's cheaper. It's kind of a more unique use case. So when people say, well, why does ADA have value? It's unique. Other chains are basically copy paste Ethereum, make it centralized, and then say that you're better. Whereas Cardano is just unique, and you may not want to use it, which is fine, but there obviously are people that do want to use it, and you want to use the unique applications on this chain. That is why ADA is just very, very different. And I actually put Solana in this box as well. We can argue about the tech all day long, but Solana is different as well. It's not an EVM sidechain, and so there is some unique value and use cases in those. So there's 500 dApps in development on Cardano itself right now. He also confirmed that Hydra is on track. Hydra is, in my opinion, basically Cardano's Lightning Network. So that's when you take assets off the base layer, you put them into a multi-sig wallet, and then you can just spend them between participants endlessly, basically free of charge. Now that means you can have basically endless transactions per second, or TPS, which is great. But obviously that's not the be all end all, because Cardano is a smart contracts blockchain as well. And smart contracts aren't about TPS, but they're about throughput and data. So that's very different to just a transaction of spending coins in UTXO, because that's what Cardano uses. There are some improvement proposals, Cardano improvement proposals 31 to 33, which are incredibly important, as Charles was saying, for increasing throughput of the chain and smart contracts. These will enable lending protocols to launch on Cardano. They are on track for June, and so that will be coming in June, and you should see those applications come on and TVL increasing a lot, because lending applications have a lot higher TVL usually than exchanges, because obviously you've got a ton of money being lent out and locked in essentially. Vassal is in June, and this is the big upgrade. So look for the June HFC event and the Vassal hard fork. Charles said that it's actually bigger than they had planned. There's just a lot of upgrades coming. So that's what makes me kind of bullish for the middle of the year. And we've got Ethereum launching potentially the ETH 2.0 upgrade as well. So I think the middle of this year is going to be really important for crypto. I also just want to finish off by why Cardano is important as a monetary asset for me. So what we're seeing right now is interoperability between every chain, right? And that's just going to continue. So once every chain is interoperable and basically transactions come down to being almost free, what is the unique value add to a crypto asset? For me, it is about a crypto asset having monetary premium. That means having an absolutely, what Charles Hoskinson says, is a secure root of trust. Bitcoin is that, the absolute most secure root of trust, monetary premium. It is pure monetary premium, Bitcoin, right? So Ethereum is trying to do that as well, making its monetary policy deflationary with use. And Cardano, for me, now, obviously, Cardano is basically a mini version of Bitcoin. It is capped. It has a capped supply that can't be changed or altered in any way, just like Bitcoin. And the difference is it's proof of stake versus proof of work. Now, you can argue pros and cons with all of that yourself, but Cardano has monetary premium, in my opinion, because it's number 7. It obviously does, objectively so. And so that's why I think it will have an important use in the ecosystem. When all of these chains are interoperable, you need assets with monetary premium, and I believe those will rise to the top eventually as those where people can really hold their money for the long term and then use that to collateralize stable coins or anything else. So that's where I believe Cardano is. It's not A1 like Bitcoin, but it's definitely up there and has more use cases with smart contracts and being a little bit more interoperable with other chains. Obviously, we'll see over time if that theory actually plays out in practice, but for the most part, it is doing at the moment. Anyway, if you want to know more about that and how I think about crypto, invest in crypto and DeFi, I'll leave my crypto course in the description. It's over 150 videos, and you can come and chat to me in the private groups as well. I'm James with MoneyZG. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.